Today, where is XRP going? Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics, latest posts covering finance and profit news with a distinctively Australian flavour. Today, I'm joined by Caroline Bowler, the CEO of BTC Markets. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, Martin. How are you doing?
Very good. Yourself?
Very good.
Okay. Well, thanks for spending some more time with us. You very kindly walked us through Bitcoin a little while ago, pre the halving. But this other thing I think is really quite interesting. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I understand it. So can you help us understand a little bit about what XRP is and how it plays into the crypto world?
Yes, I'd be absolutely delighted. And this actually kind of plays well into my own strengths and my own background. Originally, I come from the world of investment banking and finance and kind of cross-border transactions, and XRP plays exactly into that. So where Bitcoin considers itself a currency similar to other currencies that you would use to buy goods and services, XRP is different. It is used for cross-border payments. And the point of it is to make those transactions safe, swift and inexpensive, and that's very much what XRP has succeeded so far.
Right, so it's a payment platform or a payment transport mechanism in the crypto world.
Yes, but it's accessible to retail clients, it's accessible to businesses. Anyone who's looking to send money overseas can do so through their own providers and to use XRP.
Right, and does that include retail transactions, or is it predominantly a larger scale transactions?
No, absolutely. I mean, not to speak for them, but I know that you could go into perhaps to somebody like a MoneyGram or other provider off the street and ask them to say in this marketplace from Australia into the Philippines, and you can hand over your 50 Australian dollars. They'll do the conversion there on the spot. And the way the process flow works is that you'll be given your FX transaction there on the spot. You'll get your price, and they'll take that Australian dollar and convert it into the XRP token itself. And it's XRP that gets sent from Australia, from the Australian exchange, BTC Markets, to the Philippines, to the Philippine counterpart, who then turn it from XRP into the Philippine peso and credit the account that's waiting for the funds to come in. And all of that happens, the actual transaction itself, the movement of funds, happens in seconds.
Right. And so is there a double exchange rate loss in the process, or isn't that the way to think about it?
No, you get full visibility over the transaction and all costs at the point of purchase of the transaction itself. So you understand what's going on, at all points through it. And XRP itself, is part of that movement.
Right. And what's the typical transaction cost then to an end user?
Well, I don't know specifically how much MoneyGram or others are charging it at, but I do understand that it is at a considerable discount to perhaps the banks or other traditional providers. What I can also say is that the speed of this transaction is also a major selling point, as far as I'm concerned, and a great understanding of the use case of blockchain technology as it is can be used in financial services. And as I say, coming from a banking background where I can understand how long it used to take trades to settle and transaction flows to work through, to see it happen so quickly, it's fantastic and really kind of, I suppose, my nerdy head, love it. It's really great to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Sounds very interesting. And presumably the whole concept here is, you say, speed, also security, I imagine, because of the blockchain encryptions and those sorts of things.
Yes, absolutely. And the fact that it can be, you go in, you hand over your Australian dollars, and that's your end of the bargain, done. And then it all goes through and off from a technology point of view. Speedy, clean, efficient, and it comes out the other side and goes straight into the bank account or the other person who's there waiting for the funds. It's just fantastic. And it's kind of how finance should be. It's kind of like the future has rang and said, hello, I'm here now, start using me. It's brilliant. But I mean, that I mean, I suppose my enthusiasm, as I say, comes from the point of view of I can remember what it was like to have to do this stuff manually, and to now see the technology catch up with it. It's just brilliant. But yeah, as I say, I mean, particularly if you look at, say, for a market like the Philippines, where I believe up to 10% of their GDP comes from overseas remittances, and say, I mean, as we all know, I mean, I've lived overseas for 10 plus years at this stage, and for me, sending money back home, it's such a long and laborious task, even using the new technology providers, the new fintech providers, who are all fantastic, but they have to work within the constraints of where they are. Whereas technology such as this means I can send money home to my mom to pay for my nephew's birthday present in a matter of seconds. And whereas now it's a day plus. I mean, for me, sending money into Singapore, that's taken me a few days to get the money into my bank account. Whereas something like this, I can just do it in seconds. So just for that peace of mind as well, that like on that human level, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it sounds pretty amazing, and it's nice to see the future greeting the current. I worked in banking for years and years and years. I can remember filling out those forms years ago for customers when I worked in the branch, and you'd sort of say, well, yeah, we can send the money, but we're going to charge you $20 to do it, or $30 to do it.
Exactly.
Right? Hang on, I'm sending $100 and you're going to charge me $30,
Exactly. Well, then as well, if you look at it from from a retail point of view, we can understand like me sending money home for my nephew's birthday. But from a wholesale point of view, from a corporate point of view, the amount of cross-border transactions, I mean, Australia as an island country is sending money overseas all the time to do business. So now for your company accounts, you're looking at it's inexpensive, efficient, safe, done, just the speed, then it can start pushing through and accelerating the rate of commerce. Who isn't excited about that? Who doesn't want to be a part of that?
So my question is then, who is behind the protocol, or who is behind the system? I mean, is it like Bitcoin, nobody, or is it controlled by an entity?
Yeah,
or how does it work?
Yeah, there's definite people and things you can point to with Ripple. So as an organization, so Ripple is the technology company behind it. And behind them, actually, as it turns out, some of their investors are banks that you would know, for example, like Standard Chartered, I think, are one of them. Banco Santander, I think, is another. So there's traditional banking partners that are put money up to this because they can clearly see the benefits and the direction that the industry is going in. So there are humans you can point, touch, and interact with. They're involved in this. But I think it's kind of something, as we spoke about the last time, that there's a lot of complexity and there's a lot of variety within the digital asset space. And I know that we've talked about Bitcoin and now we're talking about XRP, and there are others. But so it's not about getting siloed or thinking, oh, it can only be in one shape and format. It's about understanding that there's more out there and so much more to explore. I mean, even just on that, so with Ripple, which is now set up and has XRP, etc., there's an offshoot from that. One of the co-founders of Ripple then founded another blockchain payments company called Stellar, whose coin is XLM, and they're bringing their own flavor to the same problem. So there's more out there than just XRP or Ripple, but that obviously from our point of view, we're a partner of them, so they'll probably know a little bit more about them than I would do some of the others. But fantastic, it's really fascinating.
Well, and we discussed the other time, a thousand blossoms bloom, and let's see which survive is the way to go. But yeah. I'm interested also in in terms of the countries that are involved. I mean, is there a long list or a short list of countries that you can send money to through XRP?
Well, for us here in Australia right now, it's just Australia to the Philippines. But I know that there are other kind of routes that are up and running. For example, the US-Mexico line, I think, is one of the better developed. The exchange partner there is called Bitso. And they were looking to get, I think, about 20% of the business between the Mexican-US transactions. And they currently have about 5% of those transactions. And they're seeing XRP and Ripple more generally are seeing quarter by quarter just ramping up on growth across all of those lines. So there's Mexico, the Philippines. I know you're looking at Europe. You're looking at the US dollar into Europe. You're looking to exchanges out of the Euro. They've got Euro partners there. So it's growing, but it's growing kind of incrementally. And I know that they're kind of going country by country, knocking them off as they go through and building in the plumbing. Because I mean, all of this, while the raw technology is there, I would imagine the whole process of getting your partnerships lined up, et cetera, is rather human element. The timely consuming part comes in.
Right. So in a way, the technology is the easy part. It's bolting everything else around it to make it work in the real world, which is the challenge and the opportunity.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so for us, obviously, to be part of it is just fantastic.
Yeah. So how do you see this playing out then ahead? I mean, presumably more countries, larger volumes of transactions. What's the transaction growth been like?
Well, if you're looking at, for example, the XRP Mexico line, now this is all of XRP trading, not just ODL, not just the cross-border transactions. I think that was at highly daily volume of 37 million on the 1st of June. Here on our platform, we saw XRP Aussie dollar break 15 million, I think, in and around the same time frame. So there is increasing activity growing on and interest in XRP, both ODL and as a trading token. But more broadly, I think what we're going to see is, I mean, this is one of the first projects to kind of break through and kind of the beachhead, if you like, for other technology partners to then come on and become acceptable and become more mainstream, particularly when you can point to, touch and feel and say, look, this is something that actually works and has a proven use case. So, I mean, that's to say, I mean, blockchain technology doesn't solve all ills, but there are other problems out there within financial services and others that this technology can solve for. So, the horse is bolted. This is happening. It's just going to become increasingly mainstream. For me personally, looking at something like this, a payment platform that can do cross-border FX so quickly, I'm interested. As a retail client, I want to know all about it. As somebody who's running a business, equally, I want to know more because it's going to help with my cash flow. So I'm excited and engaged. And here's the thing, I'm personally quite neutral in who the technology provider is. I'm just really interested in what the technology can do. And I think anyone who's in this space is similarly minded. They're just really excited about where the tech can take us.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the point, isn't it? Because technology sometimes can become an end in itself, but really the critical thing is what you can do with it and how it can change the way the world works. And this seems to me a very classic example of it can change the world simply because payments can go quicker, faster, more securely, and with less overheads.
Yes, and I can understand that for somebody outside of fintech, this can see something of a dry subject, and who cares? But this is what greases the cogs of commerce. This is what keeps both our own economies going, but more importantly, the corner shops down the road going, the small business entrepreneurs. Without this kind of activity and this kind of technology being used, it all dries up, it all seizes up. So I know it's super nerdy and quite niche, but for me, absolutely love it.
Yeah, clear. It comes through. Your enthusiasm is great. Now, one question, you mentioned ODL. What's that?
Oh, sorry. So that's on-demand liquidity, which is what Ripple call this activity and engagement with, I suppose, coming from the banking background, you know yourself, the use of acronyms, we can't help ourselves. It's an addiction. So ODL, that's what that refers to.
So on-demand liquidity just simply means that the funds can flow and are there.
There. It means that on-demand liquidity means that when you need to send your money across, XRP is always there and you can always send it across and use it as a channel.
Okay. No, okay, good. No, I always like to unpack jargon when people throw it at me because, I like to understand these things. So basically what we're saying here is this is the future, knocking on the door today. It's got huge potential. Early days yet, but the growth is there. And it's a great example of harnessing the power of the blockchain into the payment sector. And,
yes.
As we'll probably perhaps discuss in a future conversation, blockchain can appear in lots of different instances and guises, but this is probably one of the most powerful.
For me, it is. It's one of the most powerful. But but that said, what we're also really interested in, or I'm personally really interested in, is around how blockchain and token technology is being used in esports, in gaming. And we're seeing increasingly use cases being publicly announced. I know that they're projects they would have worked on for years, but they're now coming out. There's another token called Engine, which is working with Minecraft, where you can now incorporate blockchain assets into your actual game. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic what they're doing. And that's the stuff that gets me, again, equally excited because, wow, they've found a solution from their passion, what they are excited about, and they've deployed this technology and found a use case for it there. And this is, it's not the first game that they've done it with. This is increasingly what we're going to see coming through. But I do appreciate that Bitcoin has the spotlight, as it rightly should. But there's all these other fantastic use cases that are out there that should equally need a little bit of attention.
Well, I appreciate your time today, Caroline, and we'll be providing a little bit more attention as we paint more of this wonderful constellation of opportunities that lay in the future.
Yes, fantastic. We'd be absolutely delighted, Martin.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.